Many of us know the big names, the household influencers who've taken social media by storm. But what about the unsung heroes? The trailblazers who laid the very foundation of these industries, often overshadowed by the spotlight. Today we're flipping the script and shining the light where it belongs, on the incredible African Americans who, long before the age of Instagram and TikTok, left an indelible mark on home decor, culinary arts, and design. So picture this, a world before hashtags, where television and magazines reigned supreme and where innovation was driven by passion, talent, and sheer determination. In this video, we're going back in time to meet 5 remarkable individuals whose contributions have shaped the way we live, eat, and decorate our homes today. So where are these unsung heroes, and what became of their stories? Number 1. Lena Richard. Lena Richard, affectionately known as Mama Lena, was a prominent New Orleans chef and cookbook author endorsed by renowned food critic James Beard, the owner of a frozen food company and restaurant. She rose to culinary prominence in New Orleans during the challenging era of Jim Crow and the racially segregated South. In a food industry tainted by racial discrimination and stereotypes, she boldly reshaped perceptions of New Orleans cuisine by emphasizing its African American roots within Creole cooking. As a trained culinary expert, Richard established and operated multiple culinary ventures throughout her career, earning a reputation as one of New Orleans' premier chefs. This distinction propelled her into the early days of food television, at a time when Black representation in such media was scarce. She became the first Black woman to host her own television cooking show in 1949. Born in New Roads, Louisiana in 1892, Richard's culinary journey began at 14 when she assisted her mother and aunt as a part-time domestic worker for the Varens, a prominent New Orleans household. Noticing Richard's natural talent for cooking, the family's matron, Alice Varen, hired the young cook full-time and sponsored her cooking school education. In 1918, Richard attended Boston's Fanny Farmer Cooking School, where she was the only Black woman in the program, but she quickly found her culinary skills to be more advanced than her classmates. "When I got way up there, I found out in a hurry they can't teach me much more than I know," she recalled in an interview. "When it comes to cooking meats, stews, soups, sausage, and such dishes, we Southern cooks have Northern cooks beat by a mile." That's not big talk, that's honest truth. This experience solidified Lena Richard's belief in culinary training for African Americans. In 1937, she established a cooking school for Black students, aiming to empower them with the culinary and hospitality skills needed for employment in a racially and gender-biased food service industry. In the same year, Richard began co-writing a cookbook with her daughter, Marie, featuring around 300 recipes, including Creole classics and popular dishes from across the United States. Shortly after, a New York Herald Tribune food writer, Clementine Paddleford, and James Beard endorsed Richard's work. A year later, the publishing company Houghton Mifflin formally issued Richard's collection under the title New Orleans Cookbook, now regarded as the first Creole cookbook written by an African American, showcasing New Orleans Creole cuisine. Recipes included baked turtle in a shell, stuffed oysters, gumbo filet, crawfish and shrimp bisque, and turtle soup. Notably, Richard's cookbook challenged stereotypes, emphasizing dedication, training, and labor over innate talent. It credited the cooks in her community who shared culinary secrets, preserving generations of African American traditions. This acknowledgement arrived during an era when publishing companies favored the culinary writings of white Southern authors, many of whom appropriated recipes from African Americans and wrongfully claimed them as their own. She was briefly lured to New York to be head chef for the Bird and Bottle Inn. While her expertise reached a diverse audience, Richard's commitment to her community remained unwavering. In 1941, she opened Lena's Eatery, a New Orleans-style restaurant, earning a reputation as the most talked-of place in the South. In 1943, she left for the North again, to Colonial Williamsburg to take on the head chef position at the Travis House, where she remained for about 2 years. Richard returned to New Orleans and restarted her catering business with her daughter. In 1949, she founded Lena Richard's Gumbo House, a restaurant in New Orleans' Black neighborhood, transforming it into a welcoming community space for Black and white people, challenging segregation laws. She simultaneously ventured into the frozen foods industry, distributing her culinary creations nationwide. The same year, Lena Richard broke new ground by launching her self-titled cooking show, Lena Richard's New Orleans Cookbook. Now, this pioneering move featured an African-American chef presenting Creole cuisine to a primarily white middle and upper-class female audience. The show was so popular that it aired twice weekly. Ruth Zatarain, a resident and early fan of Richard's television show, remembers taking out a pen and pencil in case she picked up new recipes and tips. She cooked the kind of food that New Orleanians were used to eating, not restaurant food, not all the fancy food, Zatarain told the writer. But when she was talking to you, it felt like you were talking to her in her kitchen. Unfortunately, Lena Richard's life was cut short in 1950 at 58, just as her television career was just taking off. Nonetheless, her legacy endures as a talented chef, cookbook author, and trailblazer who challenged stereotypes while championing African-American culinary traditions and breaking new ground in the media and hospitality industries. Number 2, Freda D. Knight. Freda D. Knight, a trailblazing home economist, cook, and writer, boldly confronted prevailing notions of Southern cuisine and African-American culinary expertise. Her reputation as a home economist, celebrated culinary skills, and contributions as a writer for numerous national magazines were widely recognized. She challenged stereotypes surrounding Southern cuisine through her pioneering work as the first food editor of Ebony magazine and the author of A Date with a Dish, a cookbook of American Negro recipes, considered the first major cookbook written by an African American for an African American audience. Born in Kansas in 1909, D. Knight's formative years were spent on a farm where her caregivers, the Scotts, raised livestock, grew their own food, and smoked their own meats. It was within this culinary-rich environment that young Freda cultivated her passion for cooking. She fondly recalled her time on the farm as the source of her initial cooking aspirations, where she acquired invaluable recipes and cooking techniques. D. Knight's journey led her to transform her culinary passion into a career. The Scotts later urged D. Knight to study home economics at Dakota Wesleyan College. After graduating, she initially worked as a recipe developer for food manufacturers, taught sewing at a high school, and taught classes at vocational schools. In 1946, Freda D. Knight became Ebony magazine's first ever food editor. In D. Knight's column, A Date with a Dish became a beloved feature. In her role in Ebony, Freda D. Knight's monthly column served as a rich tapestry of recipes, cooking tips, and cultural insights sourced from chefs spanning the African diaspora. Her culinary inspirations extended from Mississippi to Trinidad, California to Haiti, showcasing the diverse culinary heritage of Black America. Her 1948 cookbook, A Date with a Dish, later retitled The Ebony Cookbook, consolidated her ebony recipes into one comprehensive collection that resonated with Black communities nationwide. It's often credited as the first cookbook tailored to an African American audience by an African American author. Now, this pioneering book encompassed a wide array of recipes, from okra gumbo to strawberry pie. D. Knight's cookbook demystified both familiar and foreign dishes, making cooking accessible to all. Her goal was to dispel the stereotypes about African American cooks and Southern cuisine that persisted in 1948. She boldly asserted that African American culinary talents were not confined to traditional Southern dishes, showcasing their versatility in preparing a wide range of dishes. D. Knight didn't limit her celebration of African American culture to the culinary world. She rose to the position of home service director at Johnson Publishing, the home company of Ebony, and in 1957 she staged the first Ebony Fashion Fair. While DeKnight's life was tragically cut short by cancer in 1963 at 54, her impact on African American culture endured. As recently as 2023, her cookbook, A Date with a Dish, saw a reprint edition. Ebony Magazine reintroduced her columns titled Date with a Dish as the moniker for their new conversation series. Freda DeKnight's legacy rightfully takes its place among the influential Black women who've made significant contributions to the culinary world. Number 3, Curtis Aikens. Curtis Aikens, one of the United States' original celebrity chefs, has been a beloved figure in the food and entertainment world since 1988. He was a Food Network pioneer and a regular cast member of ABC's Good Morning America. His cooking style blends his Southern upbringing with the influence of California and incorporates flavors from his extensive travels with a particular fascination for Pacific Rim cuisine. Hailing from Georgia, Curtis's fascination with fresh produce began in his childhood as he explored his grandfather's garden. This passion took root during his high school years when he worked at a local grocery store, where his work in the grocery department and produce section ignited his career in the world of fruits and vegetables. Following his time at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Curtis later moved to California, where he secured a position at a prominent grocery store in the San Francisco Bay Area and later established his first produce company, Peaches. He would later assume leadership roles in the produce departments at grocery stores in New York, where he served notable clients like the United Nations Cafeteria, the Plaza Hotel, and the U.S. Open. His produce expertise helped him debut in the television industry, working as a consultant and food stylist for commercials. In 1988, Curtis returned to Georgia and became a wholesale and retail supplier of produce, where he served clients ranging from school systems to popular TV series like In the Heat of the Night and the movie Glory. This marked the beginning of Curtis's career as a television personality and author, where he became an integral part of the Food Network since its inception.
Hello. It's time again for Pick of the Day. Oh gosh, I'm so excited about today's family. We're talking about herbs. Herbs have been around for thousands of years. In fact, I use a wooden spoon here to mix this up. But you guys know the best mixers, and I've said this before on the show, and it bears repeating, the best mixers are the ones that God gave us, and they're right there. Okay?
He hosted various shows, including Pick of the Day, From My Garden, Meals Without Meat, and Food in a Flash. His culinary talents have earned him national recognition, including appearances on NBC Nightly News, meetings with prominent figures like President George Bush and Mrs. Bush, and invitations to the White House. Curtis Aikens' engaging personality and culinary expertise have made him a sought-after television and radio personality, a celebrated chef, and a published author of several books, including Garden Grocer's Guide to the Harvest, Curtis Aikens' Guide to the Harvest, and Curtis Cooks with Heart and Soul. Bonus: LaDiva Davis. LaDiva Davis was a notable American television presenter, educator, dancer, and artist who took center stage in the American public television series, What's Cookin'? She etched her name in history as the first African-American woman to host her own nationally syndicated public TV cooking show on the Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, in 1975. Remarkably, Davis wasn't a professional chef when she embarked on this journey. Instead, she was selected for her charisma and wit. Familiar with Davis through her involvement with the dance troupe of her junior high school, the local PBS station staff asked her to participate in a studio shoot.
Well, they videoed one number and said, "Listen, you need to come to the station." And the next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call. "Hello, can you cook?" I said, well, my mother's from the South and I'm African American, so I guess the answer is yes. And they said, "Well, we're going to get a state board panel of nutritionists to work with you if this works out." I said, "Okay." So they said, "Pick 3 things that you're going to do, and we'll put a little menu together." I said, "Okay." And I went on in, and they had little kitchen area that they wanted me to work in.
Davis left a lasting impression on them with her magnetic presence. Davis possessed a unique and radiant charisma that transcended her culinary expertise.
And it was a pilot. And next thing I know, they like the show, so 100 PBS stations across the nation have bought the show, including Guam, Alaska, and the Virgin Islands. Can you do it this summer? Well, before he said, can you do it this summer, I was off the phone and in the car and at the station. Okay? So that's how I got the show. And so I talked to the camera like they were in my house and they were in my kitchen and they were sitting across from me at the counter. And girl, let me tell you what we made last week. And so, you gotta make this at your house. And how many kids you got? And apparently it worked. So the rest is history.
Davis expertly crafted budget-friendly yet highly nutritious meals in her show that resonated with the broad audience. Her show gained immense popularity, and within a year, What's Cookin' was broadcast in nearly 100 PBS markets across the nation, reaching as far as Alaska, Guam, and the Virgin Islands. It was the first nationally syndicated cooking show on public television with a Black woman as the host. Davis brought a delightful and engaging approach to her performance, joking, cajoling, celebrating, and marveling her way through each episode. She often engaged in playful conversations with the ingredients themselves. And while the show had a script, Davis's comfort on camera allowed her to dance and sing, and even swat a pesky fly with a spoon in one memorable moment. Most of the dishes she prepared cost less than $3, with a mix of familiar, like bread pudding, and unconventional, such as meatballs simmered in cranberry sauce and tomato soup, recipes. And while she humbly acknowledged that she was no Julia Child, the crew and staff always eagerly savored the dishes she concocted. Davis received over 4,000 fan letters and recipe requests following the show's debut. What's Cookin' graced the airwaves for 2 years, turning Davis into a celebrity. In 1976, Davis made repeat appearances on the American daytime talk show, The Mike Douglas Show, where she demonstrated her culinary skills. When asked about her pioneering role as the first African-American woman to host a nationally syndicated public TV cooking show on PBS, Davis remarked, "There was no Black woman cooking on TV. There were no Black cooks, period." In 2014, Davis was featured in the Smithsonian Institute's National Museum of American History and their Food, Transforming the American Table 1950 to 2000 exhibit, which includes the stories of famous TV cooks, most notably Julia Childs. Sadly, Lediva Davis passed away after a stroke in 2022 at the age of 78. Leaving behind a rich legacy in the culinary, television, and performing arts worlds.
It's just nice to be nice. Just be yourself. Don't put on any airs. Just be yourself. And people will like you in most cases. And I share that with my students. Just be yourself. Mm-hmm. Do the best that you can do. Be the best that you can be, and be yourself.
Number 4, B. Smith. Born Barbara Elaine Smith in 1949, B. Smith was a trailblazer, fashioning an empire that spanned multiple restaurants, a home collection line, the authorship of esteemed books, and most notably, the host of a highly popular weekly TV show. B. Smith with style. While some may have superficially likened B. Smith to the Black Martha Stewart, B. Smith saw beyond the surface. She recognized the shared aspects of their careers, but acknowledged that Stewart had presented domestic activities already long practiced by Black people. B. Smith quipped to the New York Times, "Martha Stewart has presented herself doing the things domestics and African Americans have done for years. We were always expected to redo the chairs and use everything in the garden. This is the legacy that I was left. Martha just got there first." Smith was born in the Pittsburgh suburb of Everson, Pennsylvania in 1949. Her mother was a maid and her father a steelworker. In high school, the Future Homemakers of America Club, while supposedly integrated, refused to let Smith join because of her race, so she started her own homemaking club with herself as president. In the mid-1960s, Smith began her career in modeling, participating in the Ebony Fashion Fair, and later signing with Wilhelmina Models Agency. Smith was the first African-American model to be featured on the cover of Mademoiselle magazine in 1976. Following a successful career in modeling, B. Smith transitioned into a flourishing restaurateur, owning 4 restaurants in New York and Washington, D.C. Her remarkable stint as a restaurateur also marked her as the first Black woman elected to the board of the Culinary Institute of America, a testament to her enduring influence. In 2012, she was honored with a Silver Spoon Award for her sterling performance by Food Arts. She was a James Beard Foundation Award nominee, a Food and Wine Best Cookbook of 1999, and an American Library Association Black Caucus Literary Award winner. B. Smith's illustrious television career included hosting the national syndicated cable television show B. Smith with Style, where her effervescent personality and innovative ideas reached audiences in over 90% of U.S. households and across 40 countries.
Well, thank you, and I love to cook.
This is really looking
It's
wonderful,
really looking
and I
wonderful.
think we're about ready to pull this off the grill.
Oh, the smells are just so good. Look at that.
Now that is beautiful. This has been really wonderful.
I've had a good time, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with you and helping you eat this.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Oh, there she goes again. She's one hot number, isn't she? Wait, we've got to get to this pumpkin soup. Okay, I'm putting apples in now. Okay, stir.
With a wooden spoon.
Put a little rhythm into that stirring, okay?
Peel off the contact paper, and then I'll place it on my shade. Turn on your light, and this would be great for your child's bedroom.
B. Smith's television show captured the hearts of audiences across 207 markets nationwide, transcending racial boundaries with an audience composition of 75% white and 25% Black. Alongside her husband, she also produced 4 specials for TV One, connecting with a broad audience, especially within the Black community. For nearly a decade, B. Smith captivated viewers on NBC stations, making appearances in programs like Good Morning America and The Today Show, solidifying her status as a beloved figure in the world of television. B. Smith's innate flair for decor led to the creation of her inaugural home collection and Bed Bath & Beyond in 2001. It was the first line from an African-American woman to be sold by a nationwide retailer. The collection encompassed a wide array of items, from bedding to tabletop and bath products. Over time, B. Smith's brand extended its presence to various retail partners, including Belk, Burlington, Home Depot, JCPenney, Macy's, Steinmart, and At Home with B. Smith Furniture line.
As a model, television host, and restaurateur, I've always loved interior design. And now, with my At Home with B. Smith furniture collection, I am like ecstatic. It's a dream come true.
B. Smith authored 3 acclaimed books on home entertainment: B. Smith's Entertaining and Cooking for Friends, B. Smith's Rituals and Celebrations, and B. Smith's Cooks Southern Style, offering a treasure trove of 200 recipes and flavorful tips for calorie-conscious cooking. She also published a lifestyle magazine briefly published by American Express. At 70, B. Smith succumbed to early-onset Alzheimer's disease, a battle she bravely fought for years. As Baltimore-based chef and artist Crystal Mack aptly puts it, at a time when there were very few Black celebrity chefs or cooks, she showed the world not only were Black women to be taken seriously as food professionals, they were also ahead of the game as tastemakers. She has given a voice and face to Black women in the food media, and quite frankly, Many of us probably wouldn't be where we are without her proven valuation of Black women in food media.
What I really want to talk about is that I have stood on a mountain of no's for one yes. That's why I like to talk to young people. And I like to talk to them early about their life, and I like to tell them about my life so that they understand that it's not always going to be easy. There's a lot of hard work, but there's a lot of reward that comes from putting that work out there.
Number 5, Sheila Bridges. With a career spanning over 25 years in Harlem, New York, Sheila Bridges has emerged as a creative visionary and a beacon of design. Her classic yet versatile design aesthetic, along with her discerning eye for detail, has earned her a distinguished place in the world of interior design. She is sought after for her ability to craft interiors that tell compelling stories and resonate with thoughtful inspiration. Sheila Bridges has consistently delivered thoughtfully curated and narratively rich spaces. Originally hailing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Sheila Bridges made her way to New York City in 1986. Armed with degrees from Brown University and Parsons School of Design, she honed her skills in decorative arts at Polimoda in Florence, Italy. She established Sheila Bridges Design in 1993. As a designer and creative director, Sheila Bridges has skillfully designed residences and spaces for a diverse array of high-profile and prestigious projects, designing the home of the late music industry executive Andre Harrell, the Harlem offices for former President Bill Clinton, and most recently, in 2022, overseeing the redecoration of the official residence of Vice President Kamala Harris. She is one of the first African-American designers to host a TV show on interior design, Sheila Bridges Designer Living, a weekly series for the Fine Living Network.
Probably the steel would look really nice if you had, chrome fittings or things on your sink or on your tub.
And you can mount these on.
If you're celebrating Kwanzaa, here's a great table setting by event planner Tanji Murray that celebrates African tradition.
It wasn't easy. Meanwhile, this looks terrible. I'm just trying to see what this looks like. I just need to step away and see. Yeah, it looks crazy. It looks awful. Is this looking like crazy? They're so awful. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning, Sheila. How are you?
Good to see you.
How's everything?
Everything's good.
Fantastic.
So what are we shopping for today?
Well, today we have a lot of seasonal...
In her groundbreaking show, Sheila Bridges shared her expertise and experience to accomplish interior design projects and solve design dilemmas. She hosted the series for 4 successive seasons until she was diagnosed with alopecia, an autoimmune disorder that causes hair loss. When asked whether she lost her show because she lost her hair, she stated, "It seemed kind of odd that when I did lose my hair and I did make a decision that I didn't want to wear a wig anymore, I could never get back on television again. So the timing of it seemed a little odd. Obviously, I can't say for sure, but I think there's an idea that's put forth in the media about what we should look like as women. And certainly rarely do you see women who have shaved their heads, women who are bald in the media, unless, of course, they have undergone chemo or they're sick."
So it's been really important to my sort of healing process to redefine beauty. So now, beauty to me should transcend hair. It should transcend hairlessness as well. Beauty is about feeling comfortable in your own skin. Beauty is about having strength and courage to be yourself. And that's how I define beauty.
Sheila Bridges is also an accomplished author, having published 2 books, Furnishing Forward, A Practical Guide to Furnishing for a Lifetime, and her memoir, The Bald Mermaid. Her most renowned design, Harlem Toile de Jouy, conceived initially as wallpaper and later adapted into fabric, challenges prevailing stereotypes of the African American experience. Through 6 vignettes depicted in vibrant colors, Harlem Toile de Jouy portrays Black individuals at rest, at play, and gathering, effectively subverting common misconceptions. This unique design has found its way into various mediums, including clothing, shoes, Sonos speakers, and fine china pieces through collaborations such as the Wedgwood in Sheila Bridges' collection. Most recently, it has been featured in Le Creuset and Williams-Sonoma products, emphasizing its enduring cultural significance and appeal. Bridges was honored as America's Best Interior Designer by CNN and Time magazine. She's received significant recognition throughout her distinguished career, featuring her work in esteemed publications such as The Washington Post, The New York Times, The Wall Street Journal, House and Garden, Interior Design, Domino, and Traditional Home magazines. Her consistent inclusion in top interior designer rankings, including Gotham and New York Magazine's listing, First Dibs 50, House Beautiful's Top 100 Interior Designers, Elle Decor's A-List, and AD 100, underscores her prominence in the field. She's also a founding member of the Black Artists and Designers Guild, a directory comprising of Black creatives including artists, architects, and interior designers. These remarkable African Americans broke barriers, challenged stereotypes, and left an enduring impact on the culinary and design worlds. What do you think? Who among these Black influencers mentioned in the video resonated with you the most, and why? Drop some names of more African American home and lifestyle pioneers in the comments. You're watching True Style Kinship, where we celebrate Black Americans' home life and material culture through a historical lens. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.